All right, so our final group project is Tom and Jerry themed. We're going to get started with our non-zero sum game.
So you, Tom, are competing against Jerry for a presidential position. You want to put up election posters around your town, but you know because Jerry is richer, his posters are going to be bigger and better. You have to decide whether or not to put up the posters in your town or outside the town where less people will see it.
If Jerry and Tom both put their posters in town, Jerry will get 300 of the 400 people in town, and Tom will only get 100 due to his inferior advertisement. If Jerry posts in town and Tom posts in the outskirts of town, Jerry will get 400 of the in-town votes, and Tom will get 200 of the outskirt votes. If Jerry posts in the outskirts and Tom posts in town, Jerry will get all 200 of the outskirt votes, but Tom will still only get 300 of the 400 in-town votes, due to how small his advertising is. If they both post in the outskirts, Jerry will get all 200 of the votes, and Tom will get none due to Jerry's superior advertising.
So here's the decision tree that Jerry wants to put his election posters in town, and Tom can choose to put his election posters in town, or he can post his election posters outskirt. Or Jerry could put his election posters outskirt, and Tom would choose to put his election posters in town or outskirt too.
So for Tom, the rational choice would be to put the signs up in town because it's the only option where he has a chance of winning more votes than Jerry if Jerry chooses to advertise on the outskirts of town. For Jerry, his rational choice is to advertise in town because no matter what Tom chooses to do, he will still be guaranteed the most votes.
So from a psychological perspective, Tom may consider the psychological biases of his voters and may be driven to put up posters anyway in town. Because of anchoring bias, people are over-reliant on the first piece of information that they come across. So if they see his posters in town, then they will be more likely to vote for him. And also because of the availability heuristic, people overestimate the importance of information that is readily available to them. So if they see more posters around, then they will be more likely to subconsciously vote for that person. If Tom does not put up posters, Jerry may just win the election due to the mere exposure effect of voters to the posters.
All right, to find the equilibrium points, we found the row minimums. The highest of the two was 100, and then we found the lowest of the column maximum, which would be 300. The 100 and 300 coincide in the same payoff, so that is our equilibrium point if Jerry and Tom both put their posters in town.
For our zero-sum game, you, Tom, are trying to get an advertisement for your campaign televised on TV, and Jerry is also trying to do the same. However, if you both post one, then neither of you will benefit more than the other. However, if one of you submits an advertisement, then you will get significantly more votes and attention than your opponent.
If they both decide to post TV advertisements, then neither of them will get a lead over the other, so the payoff would be 0-0. If Tom posts the TV ad and Jerry doesn't, then the payoff would be 1-1 in Tom's favor. If Jerry posts the ad and Tom doesn't, then the payoff will be -1-1 in favor of Jerry. If neither Tom nor Jerry post the TV ad, then the payoff is 0-0.
So in this decision tree, Jerry's choice can be post TV ad or not. And Tom can choose to post TV ad if Jerry posted, or he can choose not to post anything when Jerry posted. Or he can choose to post a TV ad when Jerry is not going to, or he can choose not to post a TV ad when Jerry is not going to.
So looking at it from a rational perspective, for both Tom and Jerry, the rational move would be to purchase TV advertisements because not purchasing the ads means risking that the opponent posting would mean the opponent could post one and gain more voters. And even if they both choose to post an ad, they will be blocking others' opportunity for influencing voters.
So keeping in line with the rational perspective, the psychological perspective also says that Tom and Jerry should both purchase the TV ads. For one, they're more likely to not purchase it if they're overconfident. They both may think that they don't need to air advertisements to win. But on the other hand, because of the zero-risk bias, they would be more likely to choose the path of least uncertainty. So to eliminate any chance of losing the election based on their decision, both candidates may choose to run ads even at a cost to them.
Okay, so to find equilibrium points for this zero-sum game, we found the two maximum, they're the same, both 0 and 0 for the rows, and then to minimum, they're both 1 and 1. Since neither of these maximin or minimax coincide in the same payoff, there are no equilibrium points.
Now for the social dilemma, you are coming from the perspective of the voter. You are busy with work, but you want to get out and go vote for your favorite candidate, Tom. If you miss work, however, to go vote, you'll lose money and your boss will be upset with you. You run the risk of Tom losing because if you don't go vote, then he doesn't have your vote and you might lose.
So if you miss work to vote for Tom and he wins the election, you get a 1 because he won, but you still had to miss work. Society, or Tom, they would get a 2 for winning the election. If you miss work to vote, then you get a -2 because you wasted time and still lost. Losing the election is worth -2 for Tom. If you don't get to vote and Tom wins the election, then you get a 2 for not wasting time and for Tom winning the election. Tom gets a 2 for winning. If you don't vote and Tom loses, then you get a -1 for the loss of your favorite candidate, but you at least didn't miss work. Tom gets a -2 for losing the election.
So in this decision tree, we see 4 outcomes. First, as a voter, we can choose to vote for Tom but missed work for that day. And the 2 outcomes will be Tom wins the election or Tom loses it. And another choice would be we go to work and miss the opportunity to vote for him. And he can be either win this election or he would lose.
So the economic perspective tells us that it would be best to work and not vote, because by staying at work, you guarantee that you at least have some benefit, and there's the possibility that Tom will still win even without your vote. However, if you miss work to vote, that does not guarantee that Tom will win, so you risk losing both the election and missing work.
From the psychological perspective, the locus of control is whether a person with an internal locus of control believes that he or she can influence events and their outcomes, while someone with an external locus of control blames outside forces for everything. So those with an internal locus of control will be more likely to leave work and to go vote because they believe that they can influence the outcome of the election in some way. On the other hand, loss aversion means that people tend to pursue avoiding losses over pursuing gains. So losing your boss's approval will seem like a more pressing matter on the day of the voting than a favorable outcome of the election.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yay, we're done.